You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
In uncertain times, we could use someone to lean on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma will stand by you with plan options to fit your budget. If you've recently lost your job, had a baby, or moved, you can still get the healthcare coverage you and your family need. Financial help may be available for those who qualify. Call 855-452-BLUE or visit hereforyouok.com to see if you're eligible to enroll. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company. In uncertain times, we could use someone to lean on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma will stand by you with plan options to fit your budget. If you've recently lost your job, had a baby, or moved, you can still get the healthcare coverage you and your family need. Financial help may be available for those who qualify. Call 855-452-BLUE or visit hereforyouok.com to see if you're eligible to enroll. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Chap lips.
They're chap lips. Do you think Phil's gonna come out and see a shadow?
Punxsutawney Phil.
That's right, woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day.
And now you can talk.
Welcome, everyone, to our special edition of He Said, She Said. It is Groundhog Day again.
Or as I like to call it, Bill Murray Day, because, for reasons.
It's Bill Murray Day.
For some reason, it just doesn't seem like it's been a year.
Well, I disagree, because last month felt like a year. I'm just saying. Last month alone felt like a year. Kind of feels like it's been like a decade since our last Groundhog Day. Just saying. Anyway, so, yeah. All right, so since we threw Aggie off, she's all out of sorts anyway because she's putting out tweets. I'm putting out tweets, so I'm just gonna.
I know. Yeah, I went, like I said, I went to visit a friend of mine. Well, his daughter, who she now lives about 90 minutes from me, and so we were having dinner. That was the only time she had free, and so I'm like rushing home. But I managed to make it home on time, and I tweeted out the show. Like I normally tweet out an hour beforehand so that people, have a chance to, if they want to come and hear the show, they have a chance to get everything organized and ready. So I figured you had seen it. And then my surprise that you did not.
And then she's like, well, I can just take the night off. I was like, no, we can make it work because Andrew's already agreed. You're here. We'll just, come on. We're going to be talking Groundhog Day, Deja Vu experiences, and Bill Murray, and I'm sure at some point there will be booze. What could possibly go wrong?
I know, yeah. No. This is a quality train wreck in the making.
Hey, I resemble that remark. Oh wait, you weren't talking about My Last Marriage. I'm sorry.
I am doing my best.
I have, it's really funny because I saw there was a tweet this morning after Punxsutawney Phil came out and did all his stuff and everything that actually was talking about how climate change has affected the groundhog. And I'm like, wait a minute. You can't be throwing me climate change with Punxsutawney Phil. It's not going to work for me. But seriously, they're now trying to tie in Punxsutawney Phil to climate change, and I'm just like, I cannot. I just can't. Not with that.
The poor guy's already gotten blamed for time loops. Now what? I'm just saying.
I know. That poor guy has a rough life of being fed and catered to and massaged for just one day out of the year that he comes out and actually works.
Well, we also got to remember, though, he has an arch enemy.
Yeah, wait, what? Who?
De Blasio.
Oh. I forgot about that.
It is officially 10 years since De Blasio killed a groundhog, so
yeah, that's true.
Security's not cheap for Phil anymore. He's got to get in that climate change grift.
Maybe that's what he's doing. He's latching onto the climate change grift so he can upgrade his security.
Can't blame him.
I could blame him, but it wouldn't do me any good.
Well, he is better looking than Greta, though.
That's not saying much.
Not much.
Well, wait a minute. Shall we do a comparison?
No, because I already know what you're about to do, and no. Wait, I forgot. Why are you here? I fired you.
I'm cheap.
All right.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. I told him he was fired, and he sent me a meme that says we'll work for tacos. So we negotiated.
You renegotiated the terms of the agreement. Got it. Well, working for tacos that's not a bad pay. I'm actually working
less.
for store credit right now. I went into town. My friend who has an antique store where I volunteer at every so often. She sends me a text this morning in desperation. I hope everything's okay. I haven't seen you in a long time. By the way, I need you to paint something for me.
Whoa!
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'll bite. And
so faux concern to twist the arm. That's always nice.
Yeah. So I went over there. I picked it up. She just wants a table with like a sunken inset, so she can put a glass top on it and have it display in it. And a friend of hers built that for her, but she wants it painted. So I went over there, and it took her like 45 minutes to decide on a color. And I'm just like waiting, and and so I brought it home and I primed it. I got it ready for paint. That was my exciting morning.
It's like, dude, by the time you pick your color, I'm gonna have to go for another manicure.
At first it was black and gold because she's going for this Hollywood Regency look in her room.
That's my high school colors. I'm down with black and gold. Just saying.
Yeah, they always look good together. I'm not gonna lie, black and gold does look really sharp. And then she changed her mind. She decided she didn't want the table in that room. She wants it in another room. And I was like, well, what are the colors in that room? And she said, well, they're mostly lights and, silver gilt and blah, 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 and all that stuff. And I said, why don't you throw some blue in there? So she finally picked the blue and silver gilt to put on the edges, and everything. But it's just like, just pick a fucking color. I need to go.
It's like, I have Aggie stuff to do. Dude, yeah, you're like tweeting me, and I'm like, damn it, I finally got to use the Mickey line on Aggie, and it didn't work. I was mad. Aggie's out doing Aggie stuff, and then Aggie wasn't out.
Yes. I was actually doing Aggie stuff. So you are right. I was off doing Aggie stuff.
That's all right. We got somebody that's concerned about our show now.
Why are they concerned about our show now?
Well, silence do good. I retweeted yours, Rick.
Yep.
And said it's actually a he said, she said bro show.
Wait, that's going to confuse everybody.
And she replied, I am now concerned about whose titties are going to be going with the beer.
Hey now. I will have you know I have attractive man boobs.
Silence Dogood was a guy. Just has a woman, Abby, but I thought it was
I think so. I think Silence is a guy. But it's still.
But still.
All I know is Silence quit judging my man boobs, damn it. Just saying.
It's not going to be mine. I can tell you that much. That's.
Well, okay.
I hate to say it, but you guys would probably be more exceptional than mine. I
can't work under these conditions.
I wouldn't say they would be. I'm not getting all the boys coming to my house.
Well, that's milkshakes anyway, not boobs.
Nobody can even find my house, so that's okay. Although I got a call from family members. I don't know if y'all are aware, but the next total solar eclipse is
August. April
8th, and it's going to come right here. We're in the path of totality.
Nice.
And I'm trying to convince Jeff to drive down, but I don't think he can do it. And so family members started calling, hey, there's going to be about 5 or 6 of us, can you house us, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't have a hotel, okay? A 3-bedroom house.
Aggie, you tell them, no, I have company. I already have plans. Thank you.
Well, the thing is, they have relatives in a nearby town that's about an hour and a half away from here where they can stay.
There you go.
But I'm like, why don't you stay there and do the whole eclipse thing, and then the following day you come up here? But I don't know. It's now I'm juggling because there have been people, and I did write them down. I've got a list, and I said the first one who asks to stay, that's the first name on the list. And I'm going that way.
Nice.
And because I'm not doing this family first shit. No. They had more than a year to prepare for this, and none of them said anything. They still don't even know. So, as far as I know, I have 3 friends that are solid yeses. So they're the first 3 that I'm going to accommodate. I have a field, bring a tent. I don't know what to tell you. So I'm throwing people outside. Which kind of shocks me in a way because I try to be a really good hostess. As a matter of fact, I was told by a friend of mine today that I am the capybara of hostesses. Ooh. And I cannot love anything more than that. I'm actually going to put that in my bio. But I am the capybara of hostesses. I'm so happy.
Oh, what you can do, Aggie, if you don't want anybody to stay or be there, you can just say, okay, yeah, you can stay. I needed a sacrifice for the eclipse. It's how we make sure the sun comes back.
We're going all Da Vinci Code, angels and demons here, okay? Yep. Nobody will show up.
Hey, just for the record, we were only supposed to be talking about Bill Murray movies, not Tom Hanks movies. Or not.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Wait,
right.
Not Tom Hanks, Nicolas Cage. Why the hell did I say Tom Hanks? Anyway.
Because he was in Da Vinci Code.
Oh, that's right. He was.
Yeah,
wasn't
he was.
Why was that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I confused
Remember,
myself
he
for a
had
minute.
the mullet.
I
He had a mullet for that movie.
I forgot.
I blanked it out.
because Nick Cage pays a lot of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So interesting little side note about Nick Cage. I think we've talked about this already, but I have to bring it up because it's Friday. Did you see the article where he's like apparently been accused of stealing something from some country and supposed to bring it back now?
Yes, a skull, a prehistoric skull of some sort. I don't know what it was, but
I'm just like, okay, this is.
I don't know if he.
This is too much life imitation of art. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't think he actually stole it.
Well, yeah, no, I don't. I'm just saying it's the way they the way they wrote the way they wrote the headline just kind of got my attention because it was like, okay, this is weird. Nicolas Cage did what now?
Well, can we get him to kidnap the U.S. president and not bring him back?
Or just leave him down in the tunnels.
Yeah,
seriously, we don't even have to kidnap him. We just kind of lure him with ice cream down to the tunnels, and then we just walk away.
You leave him with the large 5-gallon bucket of ice cream.
Leave him in there with a big ass, ice cream truck.
Just take the door. just take the handle off the Oval Office door. He'll never find his way out till the next guy comes.
Yeah, but everybody else can find him.
I guess you got a point there. Oh, see here.
So Bill Murray movies.
All right, so let's start with Aggie because the only question I'm going to have for Andrew is which Bill Murray have you actually seen? Which Bill Murray movie have you actually seen? But Aggie, what's your favorite Bill Murray movie?
So are we doing like our favorites or just random ones or what?
I mean, I figured we'd start with favorites.
Oh boy, favorites. Well, there are the classics, like obviously Groundhog Day and Ghostbusters, and everything. But very little known is when he first started out doing movies, he did one called The Razor's Edge, which was based on Somerset Maugham's novel of the same name. And he really wanted to do that movie because he wanted to be seen as a serious actor. And he actually did a really good job in it. It became more of a sleeper type of hit.
Yeah.
People noticed it afterwards, But I also have to say that one of my favorites is the one that he's got the cameo in.
Zombieland?
Zombieland.
Yeah, I have to admit that one kind of grew on me. Although I was kind of bummed when they shot him in the whatever. But,
I know, yeah. So that was kind of sad. I was like, that's a tragic end, but he did. It was so funny there. He did such a great job.
All right, and Andrew, which of the 1 million Bill Murray movies have you actually seen?
I've actually seen quite a few Bill Murray movies.
Oh my god, I think I'm gonna have a heart attack live on the air. We're talking about something you've actually watched. How is that even possible?
Because they're a frat. Bill Murray was a frat boy.
It's true.
I mean, booze, babes, comedy. That's what we lived in the Navy.
I mean, I've heard other. Never mind.
Actually, I want to say my favorite Bill Murray was Caddyshack.
Yes.
Yep. Somebody agrees with you in the chat. They just
that's Scottergate, and he posted there, and I said, "Oh yeah, hands down." Although he is coming back for the new Ghostbusters, yeah, and he looks pretty old.
Oh yeah, he hasn't aged well.
No, he is not.
Yeah, well,
but I mean, it's just that movie Caddyshack, because I mean, he did Where the Buffalo Roam, and then he had Meatballs before that, and I mean, a lot of what he did with Caddyshack was a carryover from Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
And he played that so well, considering that he was just acting against a gopher.
All right, so this has to be settled because I see the discussion in the chat. Yes, Groundhog Day is a rom-com. As a matter of fact, if you're watching the movie, you can see the exact moment she's ready to drop her panties. Just saying. Tell me I'm wrong, though. It's when he's finally getting in the groove. He's done this stuff for forever. He's got the suit on. He's given the whole Kierkegaard speech or whatever it was. And you can just watch her fucking melt right in front of you. She's just like, oh my God. Like, really? Come on. But yeah, I mean, the whoever says that's not a rom-com is just blah. Anyway, as far as my favorite, I have to say toss-up between Stripes and Ghostbusters are my top two. I didn't get into Caddyshack until later. I was younger when Caddyshack was out, so it took me a while to appreciate Caddyshack. And honestly, people are gonna hate me for this, but I actually liked Rodney Dangerfield better in that one. Just saying.
Oh, Rodney was awesome in that one.
Great.
But yeah, no, I mean Rodney Dangerfield was always kind of my hero because that's kind of how my comedic stuff went. Because I was always the kid that everybody teased, so I just kind of went with it, and then started making fun of myself. So they stopped. So yeah, his whole self-deprecation thing was kind of what gave me the idea of just start giving myself a hard time, so people would laugh instead of picking on me. Because I was different as a kid. I had like years of physical therapy and everything else to get to a somewhat normal point, and then God said, "Hey, just kidding. Go back to the wheelchair." Gee, thanks. Fun times. But yeah, so
he didn't really hit it big until Stripes, right? That's when he led a movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a fact.
Caddyshack.
No, actually,
Caddyshack is what got him the movie.
Well, I think
he led a movie before that. I mean, because I know Razor's Edge came out and Meatballs had come out too, and I love
Razor's
Meatballs.
Edge came out in '84.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But he had
but Meatballs, was before that.
Yeah, Meatballs was in '79.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still remember the damn song from that movie.
Speaking of movies that could not be made today.
That's true. But
pretty much everything in the 80s.
He was like, he was more of a straight comic.
Yeah. He was the straight man to the kids.
Yes. And I loved the relationship between him and Rudy. The way he helped Rudy overcome his shyness, and it was really cool. And for me, that movie means a lot because I was a counselor in training for several summer camps. So I actually watched that movie and I did not understand it a couple of years after it came out. I became a CIT and then I understood it and enjoy it far more because it was so true.
It was relatable to you at that point.
It was, and taking out the romantic aspects of the couples and all that stuff.
Okay, shut up, not you. What is good, dude?
Amber Alert! Amber Alert! That or a tornado warning.
Yeah, it's a missing endangered juvenile it's actually an OSBI alert.
Oh boy!
But anyway, I didn't realize that my volume was up on my phone. Normally, I have it. I was like, why is it big? Anyway, but sometimes it
doesn't matter for those.
Actually,
alerts,
it
the
will.
Volume doesn't matter.
It will for mine because Apple has a complete kill switch on all noises, but I forgot to flip it before I came back here.
So that makes sense though. But yeah, I used to when I was a counselor in training. We used to sing the song, and to this day, that stupid song is still in my head. I have not been a counselor at a camp since I think it was like when I was like 22, the last time I was a camp counselor. That song has never left my head. I swear to God. But that movie, everybody just laughs at it and says, "Oh, this would never happen." And I'm like, no, totally happened. It's like, down Periscope. Everybody makes fun of that movie. I'm going, I know people in nukes and in the submarine corps that say, "Oh yeah, all that shit is true." It's all true.
There's a lot. There's a lot that's true.
See? You would know.
Okay, so when we hear loud pounding on a door in a minute, it's just Andrew being carted off for letting out secrets.
I haven't let out any secrets.
I'm just
not yet.
But I can let you in on something though.
Okay.
There is not an oscilloscope on the bridge looking at the radiation levels in the reactors on the Enterprise. Just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of seems like there should be.
No, the guy's looking at a radar or sonar scope. It's not measuring radiation levels, especially not on a shut down reactor.
True enough.
Okay, I can speak from knowledge on that one.
I had a few friends that were going, when that one came out, they were like shaking their heads. Yeah, no.
Yeah, nobody carries a weapon in the reactor rooms, just so you know. We're not armed in the reactor room. There's a reason for that.
It's still my favorite, though.
Oh,
in
fact, it was during it was, I want to say, my second year on board my first ship that we had what they called a security alert in the reactor rooms, and we were supposed to, a couple of us were selected to be the guys to take on the security team. We were the terrorist type. And afterwards, they decided that they would no longer do that anymore. Because it wasn't fair for the guys coming down because they've never been in there, and we hid and knew what we were doing. And yeah, we. Yeah.
Andrew went on Lord of the Flies in the reactor room. You're gonna die.
Well, actually, the reactor compartment is isolated. You can't get into it. But the reactor room, the engine side, that's outside, that has all the support systems. There's a lot of places to hide. A lot of interesting things you can do in there. And it has been quite the conversations, many a mid-watch of, how could we make the reactor melt down if we had to?
That's a scary thought.
Well, that was the other thing. If we ever had an abandoned ship, we didn't have I didn't have an abandoned ship station. We were supposed to destroy the reactor and go down with the ship.
Wow.
Well, it's scary. It's like, how fast is it going to go down?
That
was our job.
That's terrible.
That was our job.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, it was an acceptable thing. So it was like, okay, we were supposed to burn the reactor plant manuals and the steam plant manuals, and they don't burn. We tried. It's like, really, guys? We need oxygen and acetylene torch down here to set this shit on fire. But they were like, yeah, we need to destroy as much equipment as we can, so this way we're not captured and nobody can come get the secrets, because we used to have the Russian trawlers following us, picking up our trash.
I just heard that gif in my head, Karen.
Yes. Same. Well, do you remember the movie? I think it was made for HBO. It's called Hostile Waters.
No.
Okay. I recommend it. Rutger Hauer was in it. And it was
based... I
based...
just see it just because of him.
Yeah. Huh?
I guess see it just because of Rutger Hauer.
Yeah, and it was based off an actual incident that happened with a Russian submarine and an American submarine, I believe. And it was, it was made for HBO, and this was decades ago,
97.
Yeah. So yeah, decades. I still think that 10 years ago was 1990. My head is still there. Okay. But it was decades ago. Yeah, I get it. Like, oh my God.
The 70s were just the other day, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, when somebody mentions 30 years ago, I'm like, hey, it's the 70s. They're like, no, Bubba, that's like the 90s now. It's Like, what the fuck?
I know. I'm like, what? No.
I am
My
not
friends
that
that were
old.
born-
Then I look in the mirror and I have all this gray hair in my beard, and I'm like, fuck, I am that old. Never mind.
I know. I was blow drying my hair, and I'm like, it's getting grayer. It's getting grayer.
Dude, so I saw this the other day, and I'm trying to fact check it, and I haven't been able to find anything. But I saw something, and it's like all the people in the shows you used to watch when you were a kid that were a lot younger than you thought they were. It said Mr. Roper from Three's Company, who, granted, I was really, really little, but I figured he was like late 50s, early 60s. Apparently, dude was 3 years younger than I am right now. Yeah. I was like, what?
Probably in his mid-40s.
Yeah. I was like, what?
That old.
But it just goes...
Well, I'm just going to tell you, we lived hard in the 60s and the 70s.
Well, yeah, I was about to go back to that because you're like, Bill Murray didn't age well. I'm like, dude, he was a star in the time that Coke was acceptable. So, no, he didn't age
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
We were a proper society once.
Yeah, well.
I just, one of the things that I've enjoyed watching, and believe it or not, they actually did this. Brian Doyle, Joel, and Bill actually made a video together for golfing. And because they're avid golfers, and I think there's 4 brothers, but those are the 3 that are in acting. And they made this video, and for golfers, the tips and stuff like that. And it was actually really funny and really cool to watch. I'm not a golfer, so most of the stuff was going over my head, but it was really neat to watch their interaction as siblings. And I kept thinking, oh my gosh, that's right. Brian Doyle Murray is his older brother. I kept forgetting that, but he's in almost every movie that Bill Murray's in. So, stands to reason.
All right, so I'm having one of those 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon moments. So since you mentioned golfing, we have to bring up Happy Gilmore because a very funny character in Happy Gilmore passed away on Tuesday, and I'm kind of sad about it. Carl Weathers died on Tuesday.
Carl Weathers passed away, yeah. I'm surprised that it took them this long to put out the, memo about his passing. But
I'm not. He's part of one of the more old school families, and they probably
this is true.
Wanted to give everybody time to come to terms before it went public, and everybody started reaching out, going, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." But yeah, no, I actually broke the story today on the afternoon show because apparently it happened like an hour before I went on the air, but I didn't see it again. So G tweeted, and I was like, "No," I was like, "Okay, I guess I have to talk about this now." Damn it. But yeah, the guru trainer from Happy Gilmore is no more. I mean, we can't really say Apollo Creed is no more because he died in the movies. So he's been no more for a while. The guy playing Apollo Creed died today or Tuesday.
But. He really was a great. He really was a very underrated actor. I mean, he did drama, he did action, obviously, he did comedy. I don't think he did a Western though, but I would have thought that he would have done pretty cool with that too.
Honestly, I didn't really get into Westerns until later, and there's still quite a few that I haven't watched. But I don't ever until recently remember seeing, black men in Westerns except for Blazing Saddles. I don't remember seeing them that often. There may have been like 1 or 2, but
I think the newer Westerns like
but it wasn't Carl.
No, it was Danny Glover. And I believe the remake of Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, I think that had one in it.
And several things that are being redone are casting a lot of African American actors now. So it kind of threw me for a loop when I went to when I decided, hey, I'm going to give Murder on the Orient Express I'll see what they do. And then I saw the cast and I'm going, this would never have happened. I'm sorry, this would never have happened. Do you know when this is taking place? Now, had they adapted it to today, Murder on the Orient Express, because believe it or not, the Orient Express still runs. It is a luxury passage, and it goes from Paris all the way to Istanbul, and it's still running. And you can, you book first class, and accommodations and it's super duper luxury. I'm not even joking about that. So had they said that today, I could see the casting that movie. But no, they said it to when, in the 1930s, and I'm like, no, that would never have happened. No.
Well, that's like, I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, Paramount Plus put out some sort of a prequel to Grease, and there's like transgendered people in it and shit. And I'm like, dude, they would have been beat to death in the 50s. Knock it off.
Yeah.
I mean, worst.
It's ridiculous.
Best case scenario, they would have been institutionalized. Worst case scenario, they'd have been getting beat to death and shoved in a locker, never seen again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's just the way it was. I mean, and this is the problem that I have when you're trying to adapt old films, reboot them, or books or whatever, and you want to be as close to period as possible, and yet you do something like this. I want to say it's Hallmark. They're bringing out a new mystery movie series, and it takes place at the turn of last century. And the young woman is actually part of the Vanderbilts or Carnegie, something like that, right? And she's solving mysteries. And one of the people that's helping her is this black woman, and she's not a domestic. And I'm like, okay, this would not have happened. This would not have happened. And everybody loves the show Bridgerton, and it is, to me, it's a lot of people are swooning over it. But I'm like, reality is that would not have happened either. So it's just difficult for me to suspend that disbelief, because if you know history, you're like, yeah, this wouldn't be happening. It just wouldn't. I hate to say it, but it's true. But anyway, we digress again.
It happens. It's Friday night. It's what we do. So anyway,
yes.
So to bring us back around to at least one of the topics that you're of the night, weirdest or most unsettling deja vu moment. Go. Since we started with Aggie, we'll go Andrew this time. Or not.
Unsettling?
Yeah, like just the one that like kind of completely threw you off.
Oh, I want to say it's hard to say. It's hard to describe, because it's like one of those, I've seen this, right?
Yes.
It was a movie, and I forget what movie it was, but it's one I hadn't seen at all, and it hadn't been released, but I knew the entire plot and everything about it, and it wasn't a book or anything. It was, I know I could probably find the movie. But a lot of times it's just something where I've been someplace where I've never been before. And it's just like, why do I know this? It's almost like a Jux type things, where it's like, and I've looked at my wife. We were at Jekyll Island together this past September, watching the sunset. And I looked at her and said, I've been here. We've done this. And she's like, no. And I said, I know. We've not been here and done this, but it sure feels like we have.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's just one of those, I know. And it's funny, it's because I knew pretty much everything that was going to happen within that short time span that we were there watching the sunrise.
That's kind of creepy. But in a nice way.
Well, I mean, that's how most of mine are, right? Like, I honestly have deja vu all the time. I have ever since I was a kid. Like, I'll be like, the first time I remember it is I was going somewhere, and I'd never been there before. It was my mom was taking me somewhere, and it was the first time we went to Heritage Park Mall. That's what it was. which was a smaller mall in Midwest City when they finally built one there. So we're walking around the mall, right? And then all of a sudden, my mom's like, hey, let's go look at this toy store. Never even been in there before. Didn't know anything about it. And suddenly I knew exactly what was going to happen next and where we were going to go and what she was going to let me. It was just weird. It was like for like 5 minutes, I knew everything that was about to happen. And that was the first time I really remember it happening. And then, I mean, they just randomly happened to me. Like, the most recent one that I can remember was when I was still working at OU. I was on the phone with a customer, because it was my turn to take regular phone calls for the day. And so I was on the phone with a customer, and, like, for the entire phone call, it was like, from the second she started talking until the call was over, I already knew everything that was going to happen. And I'm like, But, I mean, for me, because they do happen randomly pretty much all the time, I've kind of come to see it as, you know, God or the universe's nod that I'm doing something the right way, I guess, because it always seems like good things happen shortly after those things happen. Like it's almost like it's just a nod that, hey, you know, because I don't really know how to explain it, but it always seems like shortly after I have one of those things, there's some sort of big life change that happens. And I have to say that it circles mostly around the good stuff, because I didn't get any deja vu before my wife left, so yeah, those would have been helpful.
Yeah. Oh wow, I've had a few, but none shook me up as much as when I went to a funeral for a friend of my parents. I had never met the gentleman that passed away personally, but you know, my parents wanted to go, and I said, sure, I'll go with you guys and everything. And I walk in and I see, you know, the casket is closed. I see everything, and I'm looking at. I told my dad, it's like, Dad, I've seen this before. And he was like, well, did you come to the viewing? And I said, no, I didn't come to the viewing. I didn't even, you know, I didn't come to the viewing because Mom went to the viewing. I stayed back to do something. I forgot what I was doing. And, you know, I took him to the funeral, and I'm looking around and I'm going, Dad, I've been here before. The guy that's going to give the eulogy, he's going to be wearing a gray suit with a purple tie. And he's looking around and he's like, there's nobody here with a gray suit.
Yet.
Everybody had a black suit. Sure enough. So, you know, we go sit down and everything. And I'm like, I swear to God, I've seen this before. And about 10 minutes after, you know, the preacher does his thing, he steps down, and then somebody comes out from the side, and this is a man wearing a gray suit with a purple tie. And I was like, Dad, look. And he was like, shh. And I'm like, but look what he's wearing. And my dad's like, oh, wow, that's weird. And so afterwards, you know, after the funeral and graveside stuff and everything, we congregated at the widow's house. You know, she was having, you know, the whole food thing and whatever. And we're there to pay our respects and all that stuff. And I met her, and she says, I have heard so much about you, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And I looked at her and I said, for some reason, I said, you put his cigars inside the lining of his coffin, didn't you? And she looked at me and said, who told you? She was like smiling and everything. It's like, because it was apparently there was a joke going around. He was a big cigar smoker, and when he said when he died, he wanted to take them with him. because he was like that was the one thing he really loved, and besides his wife, apparently. And I said, nobody told me. I didn't even know he smoked. But I knew that there were cigars inside the lining of his casket. Even though it was a closed casket, I knew this. And she was like, somebody had to have told you. And I said, well, who did you tell? And she said, well, I didn't tell anybody. Because she went in there before anybody else, you know, and when they were dressing him and everything, and she snuck him in there because otherwise they wouldn't have let her do it. And that was the weirdest one I ever had. And I don't know why it happened. And I have no idea. Never met the person. Nothing.
Yeah, well, I will say, one, that's even creepier than mine. And like I said, they happen to me all the time. But knowing what we know about your dad, it's a good thing you aren't a few years older. You might have been carted off to Stargate Project Stargate and never seen again. Just saying.
I'd probably be at DARPA by now.
No, CIA DARPA had a joint project called the Stargate Project in the 70s. So yeah, if you were just a little bit older and having this conversation, we might not be having this conversation because your dad would have been like, "Hey, I have somebody for you."
It's always been creepy that way, and my grandmother was the same way. I mean, she swore up and down that there was a ghost that took care of her in her house. And I fully believed it because I actually saw manifestations of it. Just little things. I never saw the actual presence. But I always felt that there was somebody there, you know.
Yeah, the house that we moved into when I was 3, which after we moved around, my mom was renting out for a while, and then when we came home, we just moved back into it. That house was haunted. I've actually seen the ghost that was there. It was weird. I remember it was like 3 a.m. I was half asleep. I was going through the tiny little hallway to go to the bathroom, and right as I went to turn on the bathroom light, I felt something kind of brush against me. So I looked over, and like I said, it's a tiny little hallway. But so there's a hamper on the opposite end of the hallway because it was one of the ones with the built-in hamper where you pulled it out and you could just throw clothes in there. And I look over that way after I felt something brush me, thinking that my mom had walked past me or something, and I didn't see her. And there's just this little kind of misty, brightish, glowing circle right in the middle of the air. And I'm like, what? So I run. I run into my parents' room, and the scariest part about running into my parents' room is I had to run pretty much right past the thing to get to my parents' room. So I was like running as fast as I could, jumped on my parents' bed. My dad's cussing, my mom's screaming, and I'm like, "There's something in the hallway!" And my dad was like, "You're nuts," and my mom's like, "No, I've seen it too, just not tonight." I was like. And my dad's like, huh? But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, you guys have heard my story. I'm pretty sure I've had a ghost try to kill me at the YMCA. So that, just saying. But yeah, so what can I say? Deja vu is weird. I do because I've had deja vu for most of my life that I can remember. I did look it up, so there are a few different kind of theories as to what. Or researched it, so there are some theories as to what triggers deja vu. One is, kind of nods from your guardian angel that you're kind of how I've chosen to read mine when they happen is nods from your guardian angel that you're on the right path or whatever. The other one, which is interesting because it's tied into another theory about when we dream, we're actually taking part in lives of alternate selves in parallel universes. So the other theory about deja vu is that there is a universe really close to ours that is just a little bit time-wise out of sync with us, and occasionally we get into areas where it thins, and so we're actually getting information from our alternate self being processed as if we were living it, and for them it happened like a few minutes before, so we're living it through their eyes, and for us it feels like we'd already been here. So those are the two most prominent theories that I found about deja vu that were interesting. At least I thought so, anyway.
Mm-hmm. It's a weird, I don't know. I know it. I want to blame CERN, but I really can't because this has been around since before CERN. So there's that.
Well, you forget about the whole chicken and the egg paradox when it comes to time travel. Just because it's been around longer than CERN doesn't mean that CERN didn't travel back to start the shit in the first place.
Yeah, okay, fine.
So we can still blame CERN. And I'm waiting for Jeff to yell at me in 3, 2,
1.
It hadn't happened yet. But I'm expecting CERN is innocent just about any time now.
Yeah, CERN is innocent. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Jeff, don't worry about it.
Oh, man.
All right. Back to Bill Murray, though.
Andrew's like, enough with this weird shit. Back to Bill Murray.
Well, no, it actually kind of ties in with the 6 degrees here. Finish this quote. That's the bedroom, but nothing ever happened in there.
For once, I got nothing. I'm kind of surprised.
Me neither.
Bill Murray's response, what a crime.
Oh.
Is that from Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters. That's the bedroom, but nothing ever happened in there. After Sula being in her refrigerator. What a crime.
I can't believe I missed a Ghostbusters reference.
I was like trying to I know this, and I'm like, well, of course I should know this.
I feel ashamed now.
But it has such great show, great quotes on that one.
Yeah, that Ghostbusters is just full of great quotes. I mean, wasn't it Ivan Reitman who wrote it along with
Yes.
What's his name?
Harold Ramis.
Yeah, thank you. It was almost, the whole thing is quotable. I think we should get these two together. I think that would be extraordinarily bad.
Do you want this body?
From the skies, rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes. The dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Had to be done. It's the only Ghostbusters clip I have. I need to fix that because there are several good ones. I think my favorite one of the whole movie is, you have to cross the streams, but you said to never cross the streams. Just cross the streams!
My favorite was everything was fine until Dickless here turned off the.
Is that true?
Is that true? Yes, sir. This man has no dick.
Well, yeah, I have to admit, I enjoyed that line a lot better when I rewatched the movie when I was a little bit older. It didn't really land with me because I'm younger than both of you. So when I saw it the first time, I was kind of still tiny, sort of.
Do you want this body? Is that a trick question?
Good question. Oh, no. It's such a great
We're going about this all wrong.
Yeah, and then, of course, Ghostbusters was awesome. Second one, yeah. And then they tried to kill it with the reboot that was all female. And then they kind of saved it with the most recent one, which kind of sparked everybody's interest, which is why they're doing another one now. So,
I think Afterlife was supposed to be a tribute to the original, and
it was.
I think they did a really good job with it. And it's tragic that Harold Ramis isn't among us anymore, because he had, he was the brains of the whole operation.
In more ways than one. But I mean that's like
Ray.
But I mean that's back to Carl Weathers and Sylvester Stallone. I didn't realize until I think I was finally old enough to figure it out during Rocky 3. I had no idea that this dude that acted like he could barely talk on screen wrote the entire damn thing. And the funny thing about that, I don't know how many people know the story on this. He was fucking broke when he wrote that movie. He was, I mean, absolutely like destitute broke, like eating dog food.
He was
broke.
nominated for Best Original Screenplay. Rocky was nominated.
No,
The year it came out. So it's a testament to how good it was, really. And I mean, it's the same thing as somebody was saying, was talking about how Conan the Barbarian, is it a classic, yes or no? And I said, oh, definitely. It was a really, really well done adaptation by Oliver Stone. And somebody piped up, nah, Oliver Stone? I said, yeah, he's the one that wrote the screenplay for Conan the Barbarian. No. And they went to Google, And I'm like, yes. I mean, he's not just known for JFK, people. He's done other things. And we got into a discussion about little known, facts about the screenwriting part of films seldom gets talked about. But I said Roger Ebert's main claim to fame before he became a critic was being the dude that wrote the screenplay for that atrocious sequel to Valley of the Dolls, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. That was his main thing, and it was horribly received and everything. And because of that, he became a critic, a very successful one, I guess.
Dude, I remember growing up watching Siskel and Ebert. Those two were a trip. They really were.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun to watch. I gotta give them props for that, because that was a lot of fun. And when I remember when Wrath of Khan came out, oh my God, Ebert, Siskel was so pissed off at Ebert. He said, if you don't want spoilers, stop reading this column right now. Yeah. And they were yelling at each other over this. It was glorious. It was really cool to watch, because they had a really good chemistry on that show. But there's a lot of other, like Sense and Sensibility the screenplay was written by Emma Thompson, and she got the Academy Award for that. She's the only person in history to get a Best Actor and a Best Screenplay Oscar. She probably uses them for like doorstops, but that's the kind of person she is.
Just random thought, but it just occurred to me, because now I remember something that I always wondered as a kid when I watched those two. I wonder if they might not have been the inspiration for Statler and Waldorf, because they so reminded me of those two when they went at each other.
Yes, yeah, but I think they were I don't know.
I don't know who came first. I don't know. So maybe one was the inspiration for the other. But I remember because for me everything was kind of all around the same time, because I was watching the Muppet Show in syndication, and then that would be on like that always came on for me like Saturday mornings after all the cartoons were done. That was like the next thing that came on, and it was always just kind of fun to watch. And I remember thinking, I was like, dude, these two remind me of the Balcony Muppets, because I never could remember their names.
Well, they were in the Balcony.
Maybe that's why they reminded me of the Balcony Muppets.
It's true. They were.
So
yeah, it's a shame that Bill Murray's I think he has been nominated, but he's never won an Academy Award, correct?
I don't think he's ever won anything as far as an Academy Award, but...
Which is criminal.
Well, I mean, the people that pick those awards are so fucking stodgy anyway. It'll be another, like, generation or two before people that do major comedy win anything from them, because they just see all that as lowbrow anyway. I mean,
that's true.
That was kind of the whole tongue-in-cheek thing behind Caddyshack. What they were kind of making fun of. They were kind of making fun of everything all at the same time, because they were showing how uptight the 1% was, while also kind of throwing shade at the Academies folks. But anyway,
I think that's why the year that Arthur won for Best Picture was the year that all of the drama was so bad that they had no choice but to give it to Arthur. I mean, seriously, it was was a horrible year for movies because comedies seldom win for anything. I mean, they do at the Golden Globes, obviously, but not at the Academy Awards. It's always a drama, which is why everybody's like up in arms about Margot Robbie and what's her name not being nominated for Barbie. I'm going, it wasn't a drama. Sorry. It's not going to get nominated.
Well, this is interesting. Bill Murray has been he was nominated for an Academy Award.
I thought, Lost in Translation, right? Okay, yeah.
Yep. He's won a British Academy Award for the same role. And he also won a Golden Globe for Lost in Translation.
So he
nominated a lot.
Yeah. So he can lord it over, this is a Golden Globe. It's precious.
I don't know. If I was Bill Murray, I think I would be more upset that the stodgy Brits gave him an award and the Americans didn't.
Well, and that was in 2004, so I don't know who won.
But
yeah, that should tell you that nobody remembers. That's so smart.
Oh, Sean Penn, Mystic River.
Okay, whatever. See, never a comic, never a comedy.
I don't know. For me, Sean.
Well, John Gielgud. I think John Gielgud won for Best Supporting Actor in Arthur, but he was not a comic. He was the straight guy.
Well,
he ends up dying.
Well, yeah.
So there's that.
Orty's kind of right, though. I mean, yeah, Arthur had comedic moments, but it was kind of a heavier film. But I mean, I don't know. To me, this will always be Sean Penn.
Hey, bud, let's party.
I can't unsee it. I can't unhear it. Every time he opens his mouth, that's all I hear. It's just stuck. And I know this is an unpopular opinion, and it might be because I was so much younger when that movie came out, but I was actually kind of traumatized with the whole Phoebe Cates scene in Fast Times. I really was. All my older friends were like, oh my God, that was so awesome. But I'm like, but it kind of, I don't know. To me, it just, I don't know. It felt wrong. But then again, I was always like 4 years younger than most of the people I hung around anyway. Kind of like now. Just I'm going to shut up before they start throwing things at me.
As soon as I get my false teeth out of my mouth, I'm throwing them.
I got nothing.
I mean, I'm just surprised you can still find your false teeth. Just what I'm saying.
That's because I haven't gotten them yet. That's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, nice. Oh. Reminds me of a funny reel I saw not too long ago. It was an old man, and he's got this little like Shih Tzu looking dog, and the dog did something, and dude laughed so hard that his teeth fell out. So he reached down to try to get him, and the dog picked up the teeth, and the next thing you see is the dog smiling with his teeth because they're fitted. And I know it was fake, but it was still funny as hell because it just looks so weird with a little Shih Tzu dog with like a human smile. I was like, ew, that's just wrong. But anyway, I don't know. That whole I'm gonna throw my false teeth at you kind of made me think of that. So thank you.
Okay. So back to Bill Murray.
We're Americans with a capital A. Huh? You know what that means? Do ya? It means our forefathers were kicked out of every decent country in the world. We are the wretched refuge.
Oh, man. Yeah, honestly, I love Stripes, but I wish it had ended before they go off with the camper, whatever. That was superfluous. That part of the movie should not have even been there. It should have ended with the graduation, and that's it.
I disagree.
I
think it could have been written better.
I think so too.
All the comedy pretty much disappeared at that point. Right?
Yeah.
No, so the only thing that I will say is I think you're right. I think the main part of the movie should have ended after graduation, but what should have happened after the whole, hijacking the Winnebago tank or whatever the hell it was. they should have just had him at the very end, right after that happened, wake up and be like, "Holy shit, that was a weird dream." And then that could have been the end of the movie. Because at least then the weirdness for that part would have made more sense. Because you're right, it didn't really fit. But
if he could have woke up and been Carl from Caddyshack.
Now there's an idea. That would have been pretty damn cool. Turns out this was all an alcohol and drug rage dream.
Go on, rhythm. 2, 3, 4. Black guys help the white guys.
I mean, but I was talking about this a little bit today, right? So, lines like that and the whole, with Rocky being written when it was and Carl Weathers being like one of the main stars of the, I mean, you're talking about stuff that's only a few years away, a few years past the Watts race riots. Is it me or does it feel like we've gone backwards a lot?
Oh, we have been progressing for a while.
It's just so sad because, and you see this in everything now. Like the stupid chick that did the freaking the Mockingjay movies, well, there's never been a strong female heroine in the movie before. I'm like, hello, Star Wars would like a word. I mean,
aliens would like a word.
I mean, yeah, Star Wars, aliens. I can think of several. But it is. And it's just weird because it's like every generation thinks they're reinventing the wheel, and they don't realize that other people did this before you.
No, remember when they were talking about silent walking? I think it was called, where you leave your phone at home and you go for a walk without any. No listening to music, nothing. It's like, so you invented walking. Okay.
We're disconnecting.
Yeah, and I'm like, this isn't new. And I don't understand why you think it's new.
So you invented decompressing in nature is what you're telling me. Because that's basically what you're talking about. I mean, I mean, and honestly, I think as much as this has made it possible for me to do the things that I do, this stupid thing that is currently in my hand that you can't see because we don't do video yet, I think is destroying the world. I will be completely honest. I think it's destroying the world. And the scariest thing about it is, if you think about it, we have in our pocket, on our desks, on chargers, more computing power in that phone than was used to put man on the moon, and we do the stupidest shit with it.
Yeah, we look at pictures of cats.
Let me show everybody else what I'm having for dinner. I'm like, do you realize just how? I mean, and granted, I've done it too because sometimes it's kind of cool to show off that you're in a new restaurant or you've tried a new recipe. But I mean, I know people that do it like every day. Like I have silenced like feeds on Facebook for 30 days for so many people because every time I open my Facebook, it's this is what we had for dinner. This is what we had for dinner. I mean, I don't care. I mean, look, if you want to show me the cool stuff once in a while, that's awesome, but not, and I don't know the other thing that drives me crazy anymore, and it's everywhere now, is like the stupidest, grossest food takes ever, and everybody passes them around for fun, and I'm looking at this shit trying not to throw up, and I'm like, you people are just wrong. Why are you even sharing this?
I feel like you're calling out Andrew right now.
Well, sort of. I was actually more thinking of Stacy.
I don't take it personal.
I was actually more thinking of Stacy because I only came across Andrews by
Stacey
accident.
does that too, yeah.
I only came across Andrews by accident, and he's talking about the bologna pie, and I'm like, ugh.
What?
Who wants a slice?
I've got some more. I got some more to post.
Yeah, I've just learned to only talk to you in DM. It's safer.
I think she got it from Bruce.
Oh yeah,
the
no.
Patriot, because he was doing it. He does it all the time on
Well,
social media.
well, so Bruce does all kinds. So Bruce does the weird, gross food posts, and then he will post memes that are calling out the wrong people and be like, so sorry to hear that so and so passed, and it's like it's a different name with
a picture of somebody else,
picture of Nicolas Cage or something, and everybody's like, what the hell?
My favorite part is when people are like trying to correct them, like, dude, are you new here?
Well, and I mean, and I have a friend who was part of the band for the last church that I went to before it sort of folded after COVID. So he posts all the time and does this like almost every day. Let's talk about another one of these stupid sayings that doesn't ever make any sense. And it's always something like, something like the early bird gets the worm, or just some, little old saying that's been around for forever. And so for a while I played along with it, and then because I was just like, oh, okay, come on, you can't really be this dumb. You have to understand this one makes sense. And then I realized what he was doing. So one day I called him out, and he still. The funny thing is, he hearted it when I said it, and nobody seems to have noticed, because he still does it like every fucking day. I was like, I wonder how long it's going to take for everybody to realize that you're just trolling. And he hearted the comment, and this was like 2 months ago, and he's still done it like every day since.
Oh man!
But yeah, so the other one that is weird and like really disconcerting is Tony Barbosa on Facebook puts out has all these memes with animals with human teeth and shit, and people with the wrong teeth and all that, and there's just something that like breaks my brain when I see those. Like,
yes.
This does not compute. But I mean, I think it's just one of those I overanalyze and overthink things, because I remember that I read something once and it was on Facebook, and it was a picture of like a magnification of what happens when and it's some skin condition, and it looks, and because they blew it up, it's like this giant looking thing with a bunch of holes in it, and then next to it, it's like, and if you're reacting strongly to this image, it means you have this particular fear, which is a fear of things with a bunch of holes in it. And I'm sitting here trying not to fucking hit the close button, and dude, that like wigged me out for like a day. I was like, I didn't even know that would bother me. Like, even talking about it right now, my skin is kind of crawling. So apparently I have that disorder that I can't think of the name of anymore. I don't know. Probably again, because I typically overthink and overanalyze everything, which is good in some cases and not others. So back to Bill Murray.
Oh, Rick.
Oh, Andrew.
Just to bring you back to you're saying our race relations have gone backwards. Well, think of it this way. In 1968, 67, 69, we put man on the moon using duct tape and baling wire.
Well, that's only if you believe the moon landings weren't faked.
Oh, they weren't.
Oh, I know. I'm teasing.
I've seen the movie. I know. They got it all wrong.
Sorry. I'm laughing because I had never seen Capricorn 1, okay? And I didn't see it until about 5 years ago. And I was actually visiting my parents, and it comes on, I want to say it was AMC or one of those channels. And Dad's like, oh, this is a classic. And for those of you not aware, my dad used to work for NASA, okay?
That's not all your dad did,
like,
but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, that's right. And so it's like, okay, let's watch it. And I'm watching this going, and my eyes keep getting bigger. It's like, they made this movie? Dad said, yeah, it was a riot when it came out. And I was like, Dad, did people think that this was that this movie was like a documentary, and he said that his friends at NASA, when this movie came out, I think it came out like in 70 something, 75, something like that. When this movie came out, that NASA had to have a phone, a line devoted to answering questions about this movie. And I was like, surely not. And he was like, it wasn't well known or anything, but they knew that people were going to be calling. So they devoted like a small phone bank for just answering questions. And NASA could not tell them that that movie was not real, but they also could not confirm that it was fake or whatever. And I'm like, well, what did they do? They said, it was just a movie. These are actors. We do not have a stage. This is actually, we have been to the movie. They had to tell them what NASA was doing rather than, no, this movie was fake, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And I was like, how long did that last? He said, oh, just a couple of days. But the fact that they had to do this was just like, what? It was kind of like reminiscent of War of the Worlds back in 1938. The entire East Coast lost its mind. Yeah.
See, I can tell you that there was a lot of that going on. There were articles in the newspaper, magazines about, was it faked?
Oh, I'm sure.
And if so, this was how it was done. And the problem was there was some suspicious deaths that also happened, before being suicided by Clinton became a meme.
Before anybody knew what Arkansas was, there was Arkansas.
Right. But it was funny because I'm watching this movie going, and it's a serious movie. Capricorn 1 was not a comedy or anything. It was a drama, right?
Yep.
And I'm watching this, and my dad just has this smile on his face the whole time. I'm like, this is not funny. This is actually a drama, Dad. And he says, well, I know, but it was just the whole mess that this movie made for NASA. It was funny as shit. That man gives no fucks, swear to God. So, so this was 5 years ago, and then it was on not too long ago, and I'm watching it going, I could see where this would be our generation's equivalent to War of the Worlds. But, watching the whole way, and I was going, okay, that's a big stretch, that kind of thing, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But there I was, I'm 52 years old watching this movie for the first time. And I was like really seriously taken aback that this movie got made back then. It blew my mind, You expect that kind of shit now. You didn't back then.
That wasn't the scene I was referencing. I actually liked that one, guys. Just saying. Talking about the dugout scene. Not a fan. I actually liked that one. But anyway, no, Capricorn 1 was just, I've been rewatching some of the 70s stuff. I actually haven't seen that one in forever, but for some reason, one of the last times I got sick, I started rewatching all the old Planet of the Apes movies. They didn't age well, but still fun to watch.
No, and they're difficult for me because having had experience with primates, and I'm not talking just of my family, the characterization of the primates in those films are completely wrong. I mean, completely wrong. And it drives me crazy. Well, every single time I sit down.
You
watch one.
realize they're supposed to be more like us than the primates they came from, though. So to me, that never really bothered me. I did like I did like
but
some of the newer iterations where they kind of made them more like, you know, they were intelligent, but they still acted like primates. Those were fun.
But though they're intelligent, I have no problem with the intelligent quotient. I have problem with the characterization of each primate in those films. The chimps are the most vicious of all primates, of all of them, and they should have been the ones that were, you know, the guards and the generals and the militia and all that stuff.
I will have you know, BJ and the Bear says you're lying.
Listen, I have seen chimps beat the hell out of each other for a straw. Never underestimate chimpanzees and their capacity for violence.
Oh,
they are just incredible.
I know.
I'm not kidding. They're nice and they're very friendly and everything, but they do have enormous capacity for violence.
So I think part of that might be that again, riders took license, but I think it was kind of maybe not that they didn't understand that they are the most vicious, but maybe as they evolved more intelligence, they learned how to be more manipulative with their viciousness instead of beating the crap out of each other. I don't know.
Maybe, but you know, when you realize that in that world, the gorillas tend to be the most gentle of all of them, and then they're the ones that are put in charge of their armies and stuff. I'm like,
Jane hadn't released her documentary yet when those movies were made. All right.
Yes, I know. We really did not know a lot about primates when the films were made. I get it.
That's not entirely true. I mean,
King Kong.
We'd been studying primates in zoos for a long time. So, I mean, we did know enough to know that they got some of the stuff wrong. Like, how the hell is the orangutan the smartest one? No. I've seen orangutans in the zoo. They don't do shit. No. They're like the sloth of the gorilla world.
So orangutans are not actually the smartest out of all of them. Chimpanzees are. They really are, but they're also the most vicious.
Well,
and gorillas are the next in the smart. I mean, gorillas are extremely, extremely intelligent. I would have to say they're on par with chimpanzees, but they're not as vicious as chimpanzees.
Well, I mean,
that's not to say that if you go out there, you know, and you cannot challenge a gorilla. I would never tell you to do something.
Don't go trying to make friends with a silverback off of Aggie's advice. Please send all hate mail too.
Well, all I'm going to say is it was when those movies come out, I absolutely didn't believe them because there was no way you were going to tell me that a crap throwing animal was going to overtake the world and beat humans. 30 years later, I got shown wrong because Twitter showed up. And
I know.
Yeah. Poo-flinging monkeys is going to take over the world because we've regressed.
Well, now it's not even poo-flinging monkeys. Now it's just humans flinging digital poo at each other on social media. I watched it firsthand today. Some dude named Vish that I never even knew who the fuck he was all up in Dana Lesch's and Foo's Grill today, and I'm like, dude, what the hell? And then he's calling them fat, and somebody else that works at Twitch, he shares a picture of him, and I'm like, you really didn't have to do that. Oof.
Oh, I know. But, I mean, he's one of those ones where it's like, if I don't vote for Trump, I'm going to just start listing people. Laura Loomer, Bish, all his social influencers that are like, you know, where's this unity Trump preached about? Because it's not. It's all get in and kiss our ass, losers.
And I mean, you know what? And I've been upfront with everybody from day one. I'm going to wind up voting for the nominee because I'm team anybody but Biden. But this whole thing that like 4 weeks ago, you're telling the whole DeSantis crew, you didn't need their votes. You don't care who they voted for. Trump's going to win this thing with or without you. And then all of a sudden it's, well, now you're telling us you're not going to vote for him, or you're not going to even vote unless you get everything you want. And I'm like, well, weren't you the one like just 5 minutes ago saying you didn't need him anyway? Make up your damn mind. But anyway.
And he did. He had. You responded to a tweet to where he said that, not one or two posts before that. It's like, oh, you're such a this dude.
But yeah, no. The scariest thing about him, and if you really want to, you can go find it. It's on my feed because I think it was Mindy that posted the picture. But dude, literally, if I had to characterize what he looks like, it's seriously like if Jelly Roll and Jabba the Hutt had a baby, and it's just gross. And this is why I don't make fun of women's weight, because I'm fat. So I'm never going to call a woman fat, because I'm a lot fatter than most women that think they're fat. And that's why he should never have opened his mouth, because he looks like he ate an entire Krispy Kreme. I mean, he can.
Yeah, he's got a picture of him shirtless, and that's no, dude. I don't have pictures of me shirtless.
Yeah, no. No.
I don't have pictures of me shirtless either.
I know, we're sad about that. That should be fixed.
No, you should be grateful.
We need to correct that problem.
No,
we
I
have
do
AI.
not.
I'm going to Bing AI.
No, do not.
Oh no, Aggie's going to get the Taylor Swift treatment. It's going to be terrible.
Oh my God, that poor
Yeah,
woman.
my only problem is I could say that Aggie shirtless and it'd be a Texas Longhorn or something.
It'd be a shaved Longhorn. It would be terrible. And well, no. So what you should do is actually do that and see if it does it, and then post it, and just be like, "This is what AI said when I typed in shirtless Aggie." So when they see a shaved Longhorn, all the Aggie fans are going to be pissed anyway.
Oh my goodness! I don't think I have a Microsoft account or a Bing account or anything like that, so I haven't played with their AI. But Jeff has it, and he made some of the little Funko Pop figurines based on my description. I saved a couple.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it was that AI he used, but when I started tossing out ideas for the new site that is hopefully coming in a few weeks, he used AI to create the logo, and it was pretty damn cool. I was impressed.
Yeah, I think Brad also used it to do logos and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, Brad. When I decided on the Digital Beacon, Brad was actually the first one to drop stuff, and then Jeff was like, "Hey, what about this one?" And I'm like, "Ooh, that's awesome." And then Stacy was like, "I don't like the exclamation point." I'm like, "Okay, fine, whatever." What is it with women and exclamation points? What is it with women and exclamation points? Phil yells at me about that all the time too. You can't end your headline with an exclamation point, Rick. Like I was trying to put emphasis on the right syllable. Leave me alone.
Syllable. Nice. I like that.
It's how I used to try to teach my kids that they were mispronouncing words, because I'd be like, "Hey, you have the emphasis on the wrong syllable."
There you go.
Okay, so speaking of mispronouncing words, I like to mispronounce heinous. I have to do it like in My Cousin Vinny, hyenas. Okay, I have to do that. It has been in my head since what, 92 when that movie came out, whatever it was.
One I catch, funny thing, same movie, but one I catch myself doing all the time is when I try to say youths now. Half the time it comes out Utes.
Utes, yes.
Isn't that the way it's pronounced?
Utes.
Utes.
Utes
and Jeff.
I'm so sorry, Your Honor. I meant youths.
Youths. But yeah, I'm like, I always have to say hyenas, and I know it's heinous. I know this, but I have to say. And the other day I was somewhere and I said hyenas, and they looked at me funny. I said, My Cousin Vinny, it's always been there. I know the correct pronunciation. I just have to say hyenas. I can't help it.
Well, like, so speaking of words mispronounced on purpose, one of the ones that's always been just commonly one that white people fuck with is jalapeno. Like, and I remember, like, even my stepdad, and I think it actually started with military, because those are the ones I usually hear doing it the most. But anytime they talked about jalapenos, they would always say jalapenos. So somebody did it on a cooking feed the other day, and everybody lost their minds. And I'm like, you realize he's doing this on purpose, right? He actually probably knows how to say the word jalapeno, but people mispronounce words sometimes for fun. It's okay. Because they were just, like, coming at the dude. And I'm like, dude, you realize he's doing this as a comedic thing, most likely, right? Because, yeah. I mean, and there are...
It's silly.
But... I don't know. People just get twisted up about the weirdest shit now. I don't even understand it anymore. It's like, and everybody's got like their own version of community notes in their head. Like you put out something and somebody's like, well, actually, and I'm like, oh my God, just stop.
Oh my God, what is that? One shirtless Aggie.
He
looks deformed.
It looks like he's not had a girlfriend in a while, because that
other
arm is
that
other arm has been getting a lot more work than the other one. I'm just saying.
Well, you can tell he's left-handed, and he's damaged something there because it's all bruised.
That his right hand, the way he's holding the football, that's just wrong. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. That is just an abomination on so many levels.
There you go, Aggie.
Ew, I'll pass. Oh my goodness.
That is just
that's funny
weird.
Because you guys know that Courtney was here visiting me for a few days, and we were talking about, and I don't know, we saw something on the timeline. And somebody was, posted a picture of them post-workout. And I'm like, okay, that's fine to do your thing. But, he's muscular, like this AI shirtless Aggie person in the chat. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't appeal to me. And she's like, really? I was like, yeah, because it's not natural. It's not natural. To me, that's not a strong body, Just like, I'm dying. My husband comes by and says, thank God you don't find that attractive. He's not like that either. But no, I've always felt that it was like, if you have to go to a workout to the point where you're defining yourself, like Mr. Olympia and all that stuff. And I'm like, that's not right. That's not natural to me. It doesn't look right,
Well, and I mean, not only, not to put too fine a point on it, but if you're working out hard enough that you look like a Mr. Olympia dude, it usually involves a little thing that causes shrinkage called steroids. So they might.
Yeah, there's that.
Just saying. Anyway. Well, believe it or not, we're well past 9 o'clock, so much for saying we weren't going to be on long.
Well, it was a good show. It was fun. I'm glad that Andrew joined it. I'm glad that I tagged along.
I'm glad y'all had me.
Let's start off with
I can't speak for Aggie, but I've never had you, sir. So no. Just saying.
Hey, she fed me tacos, so she loved me a long time.
Okay, Rick, where can we find you?
All right, so starting off with tomorrow night, we'll be doing Juxtaposition. It's that week, so 11 p.m. Eastern. Then Sunday night, you can find me as the closing act on Sunday nights on KLRN Radio, where America Off the Rails is now the cleanup hitter for the night. So I'll be doing that at, I believe it's 10 p.m. Eastern, because I think Al's usually done by about, so usually done about 9 my time, I think. I'm still learning things. And then Monday, Rick Robinson Show, 3 to 5. Tuesday, same. Wednesday, same. Thursday, same. Friday, same. And then the evening shift, Tuesdays, producing for you and Brad. And then Wednesday will be, well, usually it's me and Stacy doing whatever at 7 Eastern. And then Conservative Curmudgeon G has already advised that he will be off this next week. So I'm not quite sure what we're doing with that hour yet, but we'll figure something out. Then the Ladies of the Red Wine at 9 Eastern. And then Ordy and I are back to close out Wednesday night at 10 Eastern doing Rick and Ordy. And then Thursday, do Jen and Rick at 10 p.m. Eastern. Friday, back around here doing this with you again, most likely, because I'm starting to think Mickey just hates us and is never coming back. No, I'm just kidding. I know he's got a lot going on. we were actually just talking the other day. But anyway, so when I'm not doing all that, you can also find me as a contributor, usually about weekly now at this point, on the Loftus Party, as well as the executive producer of the Loftus Party podcast, which usually drops on Tuesdays. And then when I'm not doing that, I also contribute mostly daily at a little website. As I always love the way Sam always used to say that, so I've stolen it. A little website known as Switchy.com, which she basically now runs now, which is awesome, because I remember when she first started that gig and she was like super nervous, and now she runs the whole thing. Anyway, so that's pretty much everywhere you can find me, and if you need more of me than that, and let's face it, nobody does. Yes, stealing material and reworking Brad's wording. You can find me on most social media at RowdyVic73. All right, Andrew, where can folks find you? We'll let Aggie wrap up because she's got more to say than you do, too.
Normally. You can find me on Twitter at Nuke MN1 Retired, and on Toxic Masculinity last Wednesday every month here on KLRN at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I'm thinking I'm going to try doing a live show next week, but I have a cast on KLRN. It's From the Basement, and I dropped my third one yesterday, and it's going to try to go live today for you, Rick, but real life has interfered. Damn work.
That is such a four-letter word, sir. We don't allow those on this station. Well, at least that one specific, anyway. I don't really care about any others. But yeah, no, I mean, we've already kind of decided that for now that's just kind of you do it when you want to do it. So if you can drop one or do one live, that's awesome. If you can't, it's kind of like I was telling Aggie when you had offered to pinch hit just in case. I was like, for me this is work. For you guys, mostly this is done in fun. So if this fun stops you from doing other fun things, then eventually it won't be fun anymore. So if you guys need a night off,
it wasn't fun things. It was the job.
Well, yeah, but that's why you're supposed to be retired by now. Come on, slacker.
The grandbabies won't let me yet.
Yeah, gotta keep them in their animal crackers, huh?
Tacos.
Wait, you're already feeding tacos to the grandbabies?
Never too young to start.
Well, this is true. I guess this is true.
You know, you can blend up tacos and make it and put them in a bottle.
If I was gonna do that, I'd probably be mixing it with tequila, so I don't know how well that would work. But I see your point. Anyway, Aggie, where can folks find you?
Well, you can find me at Aggie Weekend and at Aggie the Barkeep. Those are over on X. You can also find me 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday nights doing the Cocktail Lounge with the ever suave Brad Slager. Friday nights, also 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Aggie time. Doing He Said, She Said on Friday nights with our awesome producer, Rick. And once a month, 8 p.m. Eastern, last Wednesday of every month, doing Toxic Masculinity with Rick, G, Ordy, and Andrew. And Jeff and I have teamed up, and we're doing our book podcast the second Monday of every month. So the next installment will be on the 12th of February. And that is...
What's the book?
I cannot say.
Come on. So. I want to read. I want to read them first.
Okay, I will tell you afterwards.
That's cheating.
We get together also
cheating.
at Aggie time, 8:30 p.m.
That's cheating. If you're going to share with one, you have to share with the class. That's cheating.
Okay, I am currently reading a book called The Hamilton Affair.
The Hamilton Affair.
That's all I'll say.
Do I need to show ID to buy this book?
No, thank God.
It's not that kind of affair, unfortunately. I'm just saying.
Is this where I go into the bookstore and have to go in the back and go, sir, can I have that one in a brown wrapper?
No. Oh my goodness.
All right, and well, actually, before we close, I did forget something. Assuming I can actually figure out when it's supposed to happen, since I don't have the day job stuff anymore, we're going to have some local coverage sometime on Monday, because it's supposed to be the State of the State address here in Oklahoma. So when I know when that's going to be, I will probably do a live show about that, because it's something that I've always kind of wanted to do. I'm actually working on trying to see if I can get credits to be in the balcony for it next year and kind of do something from there. Because I can start working on doing that kind of stuff now, and I kind of forgot. I was like, holy crap, it's the State of the State, and I was wanting to try to make sure I was there this year, and I didn't make sure that I could do that, so I need to get that figured out for next year. But yeah, so
okay.
Anyway, so yeah, there's that, and don't forget Valentine's Day's coming up soon. So for those of you that actually have significant others, go spend lots of money and put yourself in debt, because that's what you're supposed to do, apparently. I don't know. Anyway.
And let's remember the significance of February 15th.
Wait.
The 15th or the 14th?
Well, I mean, the significance of February 15th is you get really cheap candy. I mean, that's my significance anyway.
The chocolate at 50% off. Now, the irony is that this year, February 14th falls on Ash Wednesday. God is literally laughing his ass off at me.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, this year, and honestly, I think Mardi, because it's all weird and tied to that whole thing. I think Mardi Gras a lot earlier this year, so I'm trying to figure out if I can even actually get there, because I don't quite have all the funds I would need yet. So I'm still trying to figure that part out, because I think it's only about a little less than 2 weeks away at this point. I don't know how I feel about that. But the significance of me for the 15th, other than cheap chocolate, is that's my granddaughter's 4th birthday. So.
Oh.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, so, she's already 4. I was just thinking about today. I was like, how the hell is she already old enough that she's going to be starting school this coming fall? It's like, I was like, she doesn't feel
one of my granddaughters turns 4 on the 14th too.
Nice. Yeah, that was my now ex-wife and I's last semi-normal Valentine's Day, and it got interrupted because my daughter went into labor. So we were at dinner, and she starts blowing up phones and like, something's wrong. And I was like, yeah, you're in labor. We'll be there in a few minutes.
Well, I can also say it is the 4th year since my wife broke her right wrist.
Well, if you hadn't made her hit you, I'm just kidding. I don't really know what happened.
No, she slipped on ice.
Oh, that's right. I kind of remember you saying.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was her right wrist 4 years ago. 2 years ago, she slipped and broke her left wrist. To today.
Whoa, okay, that's a little weird. But, well, I mean, not really. I mean, think about it. And this is just because we did start the show talking about Groundhog Day. Comparison between 2020 and 2024. Leap year, Super Bowl, Chiefs and 49ers, and it looks like it's shaping up again to be Biden versus Trump 4 years later.
They're talking a pandemic.
And they're always talking a pandemic anymore, because it's how they keep us from doing anything other than mail-in voting, which they can heavily fix. So that doesn't surprise me, but anyway, all right, we're really long. I'm getting off here because I've done a lot of work this week. Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, that's Ordy's line, sir, and there is no hailing of Hydra, especially when the Amish one isn't here.
I was just filling in for you.
Next thing, you'll be making fart noises. Come on now.